welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would do books, appropriate books for the preteen. It's kind of that in-between age where you're not quite there for the young adult, but you're also kind of out of the children's stage. So I thought I would give some suggestions for some books that have less adult, more young, but are still more grown-up feeling than the children's books. Oh, and there went my books cascading off my chest. I just bent my brother's book. Hope he's not upset about that. Okay, so there's 3 series that I see a lot because I sub in a school, and I see students with the Harry Potter series, which I absolutely adore. I grew up on them and I love them to death. I have all of them, and look, this one's actually like in 3 or 4 different pieces. I really do need new editions. Look at this. Look at this. Do you see this? It's in different parts. Anyhow. So yeah, these, I'm not even going to talk about these because I feel like everybody knows what they're about. They're all on TV all the time. But these are awesome books for children, the in-betweeners, young adults, and adults. Not ashamed to say I read Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter. The other book series I always see is the Percy Jackson series. However, this does deal with the Greek mythology. That's the one. So it does deal with Greek mythology, so if your parents don't let you read Greek mythology, or if you don't want your kids reading it, if you're an adult watching this, that's what Percy Jackson is about. They also have some movies about those, so you can watch those too to kind of get an idea of what the books are going to be about before you let your child read it. The other series that I have bought the entire series for my brother, and they just come out with another one called The Long Haul, which is the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series. And I see tons of kids having this. I've even read a couple of these because I think they're hilarious, and I actually really like the movies. I feel like they're funny enough for kids to watch, but then they also kind of bring in an adult humor to where like older people can think that it's funny as well. So I really enjoy these myself. This happens to be the second book in the series, and it is Roderick Rules. They're all around 212 pages, I think. It's like they're almost 217, so they're all like right around that number. Okay, so some childhood classics of mine was The Giver, and this is appropriate for students. I don't think there's any cuss words in it. There aren't any other inappropriate scenes. This book blew me away as a child because I had never read anything kind of like in a different community like the dystopian novels that I have grown to love. This is what kind of started me all off, and I remember I read this in middle school, and we was only allowed to read like a couple chapters a day because we had to read it as a class. And oh my gosh, the self-control it took not to read ahead of my class because I love this book so much. It's about a boy, and he is going to be the next giver. So he has to be trained by the giver, and I don't want to give too much away, but there is a movie on it, which is fairly new. The movie is different from the book, so if you've watched the movie, it is different. And it's just kind of like as you get older, there's different stages. So at a certain age, you get a bicycle. At a certain age, you get your career choice handed to you. So it just, like I said, blew my mind. Awesome read, and it's definitely going to make students think, or your children. I keep saying students. I'm sorry. I'm such in my sub-mind. It's going to make your child think about things because, well, it made me think about things and about the world we live in and why it's the way it is and why they are so different. And the whole black and white right here with a bit of color, that's a clue as to what goes on in the story. Another childhood favorite was Tuck Everlasting by Natalie Babbitt, and I absolutely also adored this book. Did I say that about the last book? I'm sorry if I did. I know I need more adjectives. So I really like this. It's like a little fairy tale, but more of a believable one because it's like something that happens in a young girl's backyard. She finds this little what's it called? Spring of water, and if you drink from it, you don't die. So it's about this family who's drinking from it, and they don't die, and they live on her property, and it's very interesting. I was a little upset the first time I read this because I totally would have chosen a different path if I was the main character. than what she did, although I understand why she done what she done. But yeah, I feel like this is a really good summer read because it does kind of take place in the summertime. Really good though. Has a female lead character and super appropriate for the tween age. Now I'm just going to throw these two books in. They weren't favorites of mine, but I did read them and they are appropriate for students. So I'm just going to throw them in there for some variety, which is the Anne of Green Gables. This is about a spunky little redhead and she gets adopted. It's all about how she kind of copes with it, and there's a boy at school that she doesn't really like and it kind of makes fun of her. But then they kind of become friends. So, I mean, it's a cute read. It wasn't my favorite, but it was definitely cute. So if you're looking for something a little more light and airy, kind of just like a fun read, this would be it. And it's about 300 pages, so it is kind of a long one, and there's like, I think 8 in the series, so it will keep you busy for a while if you actually like them. And there are movies on them. I feel like there's more than one series made, like movie series made from these books, and I really like the movies. I think they're super cute. These are one of my mom's favorite series, by the way. I think they have dolls you can buy too to go with that. The other one I'm throwing in that I have read but wasn't my favorite, and I got this nice sticker. I paid $7.87 for it, if you want to know. Is the C.S. Lewis, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I read this, but I feel like it was kind of confusing to me when I read it, so maybe this is more for the late preteen, because it did have some like riddles in it, and I was just like, what? But I remember it was interesting because it introduces you to a different world, so characters are different. You have like talking animals, so that was always like interesting to read. It also has more than one book. It's part of a series. I'm not sure how many are in it. I never finished the series. I have read the first several of them though. And of course this is a movie as well. It's kind of always a good indicator if a book is good. If it was made into a movie, that means there's a large audience that liked it, which is why I'm including it in this video, because there's obviously been a history of people really liking this book. It was just okay for me. It wasn't a favorite. It wasn't bad. It was just like, it was interesting. My other book I do not have with me. It's somewhere in the house. I just don't know where it's at, which is one of my all-time favorite books, Peter Pan. I love Peter Pan. Love, 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 love the story. I just want to live in Mermaid Lagoon on Neverland. Second star to the right. Oh, come on. Dreams come true right there. Except like, now that I'm 24, I need like Peter and the Lost Boys to be like 24, because I can't be having them little, you know? So I would totally live, or maybe I could, I wonder how old Captain Hook is. Like, I know like a lot of the movies portray him as different ages. But you know, I don't actually remember how old he is in the book. Never mind, he's a codfish. I don't want to be with him. So anyhow, back to the Lost Boys being older. But yeah, that is just such a magical book for me. The whole just going to another planet, well, star, but another, like, it's just like a whole world on a star. To me, I love it when authors create worlds like that. World building is my favorite. So that's kind of why I like dystopian novels, because you can take you can make the world anew and kind of make them something different and put some different aspects to the world that makes it a little more interesting to live in. I'll bet more dangerous, but more fun to read. Now the last 3 that I have in my hands here are ones that are on my TBR list. So I have them in person, ready to read, but then I also have some on a TBR list that I haven't purchased yet. So this was in my book haul video from my Vlogmas, which is A Little Princess. I've watched the movie, love, love, love the movie. I remember I used to watch over and over when I was a girl because I just thought it was so imaginative. Like, she was kind of stuck in this little orphanage type place, and her father was abroad, and she had to stay there while her father was gone. And I just remember how she always would like entertain the other girls with stories, and I just became captivated with the stories that she would say, and she was just so like proper, and I really liked her character. So I'm super excited to read the book to see how much it lines up with the movie. Okay, this is probably the one that I'm most excited to read on my TBR list that I have owned, which is Peter and the Star Catchers. I almost said Star Chasers. This is a series. I think it's a quartet. I think there's 4 of them, but I could totally be wrong. This is kind of a retelling about the whole Peter Pan story. So, as you know, I love me some Peter Pan. So I'm like actually super excited to read this and to start the series. This has like over 4 points on Goodreads, which means it's good, especially for a children's book to have over a 4, because that's, to me, if you have over a 4 on Goodreads, that's a good book. Hands down, I want to read it if it's like, you know, in my genre. But then you got some like fairy dust, and like I just love the cover. If it'll focus for you. There you go. Look at that. See the fairy dust? Oh, I can't wait to start this. So, I've had this for kind of a while. The packaging also very heavy, very nice. I love that. I love it when I have some weight in my hands. Also includes some pictures inside. This is around the 450 page mark though, so it is a hefty read. Definitely not for the faint of heart. It is going to take you quite a while to get through this. Okay, this is my last one that I own, and it is Around the World in 80 Days. I've watched the movie. I think it has Jackie Chan in it, actually. Does it have Jackie Chan? I think it does. But I remember I liked the movie. And I'm excited to read this because it is a Jules Verne novel, and it is a classic novel. And it's about around the 200 page mark, so that's pretty easy to get through. I just think this is going to be a super fun adventure book, and where they kind of just, you know, run into some problems and run into like different, you know, countries and whatnot. I'm excited to try this out. I got this for $1.99 actually, for Ollie's Bargain Outlet. I buy so many books at Ollie's because they're just cheap. For my books that I have on my TBR list but I haven't purchased is Gregor the Overlander by Suzanne Collins. Suzanne Collins is who wrote The Hunger Games, and I've heard nothing but good things about her children's series, which I believe she wrote before she wrote The Hunger Games. And it has a 3.97 rating on Goodreads, which is pretty good. That's almost a 4. Like I said earlier, 4s are good. So it's kind of about this kid, and his father is missing. He somehow gets into this underworld where like creatures and people live together, but there's a war about to happen, and he has been prophesied to come to them, and it just sounds really interesting. It's a children's book, so it should be super appropriate for the preteen age, but super adventurous too, so you're not going to get bored. I personally can't wait to read this book just because I love The Hunger Games. I know she's a great author. I have a huge tangle in my hair. That is awesome. Another book I'm excited to read in the future is Finnegan of the Rock. And it is of like, I think like a larger series. It is by Melina Marchetta. I think that's how you say that name. I always butcher names. They should have pronunciation printed with the name. If I ever write a book, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put a pronunciation below my name so that people will know how to say my name. And they won't have to feel so bad if they don't say my name right. I'm a genius. Let's make this. Let me need an initiative to do this so that I don't butcher authors' names. Let's do this. Let's team up. We need to make this happen. Okay, but back to the book. Finnegan of the Rock. It has a 3.97 as well, so it's right up there with the Suzanne Collins novel. And it's about this prophecy of a kingdom, and there's 3 friends. One of them is a true king, but I don't think they know it, so it's kind of about them going on this adventure. Also prophesied over, I think, so they're kind of fulfilling this prophecy. It sounds like a super fun read. Definitely going to be one that'll keep your attention. I feel like it's going to be action-packed. So, yeah, can't wait to buy that one in the future. The final book in this video is called Artemis Fowl. It is by Ian, I don't know, Colfer, and it has a 3.8 rating. In the novel, Artemis is like a millionaire, and he's like 13 years old, I believe, but he's like a mastermind thief. So I'm going to be super interested to find out why a millionaire wants to steal things, but he ends up stealing something he shouldn't have. He ends up stealing a fairy, and there's all these like little goblins and creatures and things that come after him to get this fairy because evidently it's an important fairy, something like that. So I think that'll be a super fun read as well. It sounds like it has adventure, it has different kinds of animals. It sounds like it also has maybe some little bit of world building, some character building. I'm excited to get to know Artemis Fowl. It is marked as a young adult book, but I think it might be a little more young than adult. From the way it sounds, it is a 13-year-old, so it shouldn't be too bad. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped you pick out either books for yourself to read or books for your young child to read that are appropriate for their age level. Give me a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. I'll be back every Friday at 6 o'clock with a new video. Bye!